obviously, but the place to start is in the West Regional in Des Moines. Final score, Arkansas 72, Kansas 71. The Razorbacks are in the Sweet 16 for the third consecutive year, and the Jayhawks, the reigning national champions, they're done before Bill Self ever even had a chance to coach Kansas in this NCAA tournament. I'll stop right there. Deadleg, your thoughts on the reigning national champs being eliminated before Bill Self was able to coach them in this NCAA tournament?
You know what? I'm going to give a couple of shout outs at the top here. I'm going to apologize. I don't have my normal board, so you're hearing me come through my mic. But our tireless, amazing editor, Marcus Nelson, assured me he'd be watching live on YouTube and smashing the like button like he's Brandon Davies. Shouts to Marcus Nelson. We appreciate everything you do behind the scenes at CBSSports.com. And I believe the one and only Jamie Erdahl might be checking in and watching right now because she tweeted old Giddy Up logo with the horns or whatever that is emoji. Jamie, you're doing an amazing job, continuing to do an amazing job as you always do on sideline duty. Jamie will be back on the sidelines for Sunday's games as she was for Fridays. I believe she's in Columbus. As to your question, man, Kansas is down. No Bill Self. I think that's the difference in this one. Credit to Muss. Oh, actually, I have something else to report at the top here. Just texted with Muss. I needed to get this on the record. I said, listen, I'm about to podcast with GP right now. Can we get a guarantee that another shirt-off celebration is coming if a Sweet 16 victory happens? He said, he gave me ha, 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 ha. Yep, thumbs up. I said, okay. So if you want more shirtless Muss, it's coming. Look at that. If you're watching right now, you're seeing it. You know what? I got to be honest. A couple of things. One, you'd rather die than take your shirt off in public, correct?
I think that's true. I would rather be deceased than take my shirt off in public. I can't tell you how many swim shirts I own, and I own them. People say, oh, why are you wearing a swim shirt? And I flip it around on them. I go, I'm not trying to die of UV rays. You want to die of UV rays? I make it out like I'm really – the only reason I'm wearing this swim shirt is because I don't want to die of UV rays. That's my official public position. The truth is, I hate myself. If I look like Muss, I would take my shirt off all the time. I don't look like Muss. That's a 58-year-old man right there. He looks good.
He's doing more than okay for himself there, without a doubt. There is a rising campaign in our live chat for you to take off your shirt. And they don't want peacock noises. They don't want Razorback noises. They don't want tiger noises. They want shirtless GP on the YouTube stream, folks. This might be the last ever podcast we do if somehow we get to that point. So
I don't even take my shirt off at home.
He's going to go to bed tonight in that suit and tie. He's not even going to change.
No, I swear to God. And if people are in the bathroom when I have to get into the shower, I get into the shower and then I throw my shirt out of the shower. That's a fact. Okay. That's how much I hate myself.
We cannot recap Saturday's round of 32 games and get a therapy session in under 40 minutes. So I will continue. Congrats to Arkansas. The Muss taking off the shirt thing is feeling more polarizing by the year. I have no issue with it. The man is comfortable at 58 years old in ripping off his shirt in front of a crowd of literally 20,000 people. Like, more credit to you. I think it's a wonderful little side thing in the tournament and in college basketball. Muss, keep doing you. For Kansas, yeah, I mean, the loss comes as not a stunner. I mean, it's not a stunner. We talked about this was the hardest region, and we talked about it not just because of second round stuff, but this exact reason is that you run into a team with 2 lottery picks, a good defense, and Arkansas was a preseason top 10 team. Although, and the way that it was done, pretty surprising with Arkansas. Had Bill Self been on the sideline, I actually think maybe it does make a difference. I think you can easily argue it makes a difference. We're talking about a 1-point difference at the end there. But Arkansas didn't get a huge game out of Nick Smith. Didn't get any game. Future top 5 pick potentially scored 0 points. It was all Devo Davis, who had 25. Ricky Council had 21. Devo Davis was awesome. His post-game interview, give another shout-out. Allie LaForce did a great job. And that emotional scene was tremendous. We were light on dramatics for the most part on Saturday. We got some big stuff. We'll get to Princeton, obviously. But there's been a few awesome post-game interview scenes we've gotten over the past 3 days. And Devo Davis kind of breaking down and just trying to explain how all the hard work is paying off And I get where he's coming from, because Arkansas had lost 4 of its last 5 games heading into the tournament, was a popular team to fade for some. Arkansas only led for 1:43 in this game, only led for 1 minute and 43 seconds, but it pulled it off, man. And now I'll let you speak on the self stuff, but I got a couple nuggets. All Final Four teams from last year, they're gone. That's only 2 times in the past 17 years that Final Four teams from one season were all out before we got to the Sweet 16. And Kansas continues to trend where the reigning national champion does not make the Sweet 16. The last time we got it was 2016 with Duke. And now with Purdue and Kansas losing, 2023 becomes the 5th tournament since we expanded in 85 to have 2 1 seeds gone before the regional semis. 2018, 2004, 2019, 81 are the other tournaments to have 2. There has never been a tournament with 3 1s or more gone before the Sweet 16. That will continue. Bama and Houston. We'll get to you, obviously, both won on Saturday. Congrats to Arkansas. You know, this team has gone to 3 straight second weekends. It's going to try and get to 3 straight Elite Eights, and it's done this after going 2.5 decades without it, and did the rare thing where it beat a 1 seed in its region in back-to-back years. That almost never happens. Arkansas was the 4th team to ever do that. What are your thoughts on the game and not having Bill Self for Kansas? Was that ultimately the thing that you believe did the Jayhawks in?
This is the problem with talking about this, is because if you say that, it feels like you're taking away from what Arkansas just did. And I'm not that interested in taking away from Arkansas going to the Sweet 16 for the 3rd consecutive year after that school had not been, before it hired Muss, since 1996. You remember, like, this, that's something you and I used to reference all the time. Like, Arkansas went to 1 million Sweet 16s in a very short amount of time under Nolan Richardson, and then it just stopped. Like, if I would have told you in 1996, you will not go back to the NCAA tournament Sweet 16 again until 2021, like, that is unimaginable. It would be like somebody telling a Duke fan, you're not going back to the Sweet 16 for 30 years, whatever it was. Like, what? How does that even happen? But that is what Arkansas went through. And so this is an incredible accomplishment. And you don't have to apologize for it if you're an Arkansas fan. But yes, I mean, Bill Self is, forget my opinion. We put it to a vote of a lot of us at CBS Sports in the preseason, and Bill Self was voted the best coach in college basketball. I think if you want to have that conversation, you're probably picking between Bill Self and Rick Pitino based on accomplishments and the fact that those guys are still operating at an extremely high level, even if Rick has been doing it at the mid-major level. But undeniably, Bill Self's one of the best coaches in the country, one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. And yeah, it defies logic to not think that had he been on that sideline, maybe you can get a point here or there, or a bucket here or there that flips this the other direction. And as I was thinking about this, you look at the now missed opportunities that have been missed by Bill Self for reasons largely, if not entirely, out of his control. My point being this: in 2020, he had the best team in the country, according to KenPom. It was going to be the favorite to win the national championship. They were going to be the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. And then we didn't have an NCAA tournament. Dumbest pandemic of my lifetime. 2023, he has a number 1 seed, a realistic national championship contender. And he doesn't even get to coach them because just before the Big 12 tournament, he had to have a medical procedure. Specifically, he had to have 2 stints inserted. And even though he had been in Des Moines with his team and at practices and around, based on Bill's comments after consulting with doctors and big group conversations, they just didn't think it was appropriate for him to be on the sideline yet coaching a basketball game. But by all accounts, he was probably going to be ready to go in the Sweet 16. Just got to get there. And he couldn't get there. And so at the end of his career, whenever that is, there could be a game of what if that we play. Like, what if the 2020 tournament is played? Does he win that one? What if the 2023 tournament, he coaches in it? Does he win that one? There's no way to answer that question, but that is 2 legitimate championship caliber teams that he's had in the past 4 years, in addition to the one that actually won the championship last season, he's got two teams that he never got to coach. He coached them to what would have been 1 seeds in the tournament, but he never got to coach them in the NCAA tournament. As I'm talking through that, that's got to be like, that's never happened before.
Right. That's the only, because the dumbest pandemic of our lifetimes. 2020 is obviously the way bigger what if and more realistic. Not unthinkable. Kansas could have repeated, but we just don't see it. They were in the toughest region, and we'll see what the path would have been depending on how UConn St. Mary's plays out tomorrow here in Albany. But yeah, they went up against an Arkansas team. It was a really fun watch. A bumpy game with some of the whistle. I get that. I don't deny that. I enjoyed the game, and credit to Arkansas for just getting it done, man. It's only here's the thing. It's only 2 wins, but no matter what happens from here, if Arkansas makes the Final Four, gets to a 30 Elite Eight but falls short, or just puts up a stinker in the next game, just 2 wins can help validate so much of what a team goes through in a season, no matter what level that team is at. Like, Arkansas is a power conference team with the national championship, and obviously has made the regional finals the past 2 seasons. But with all of the injury issues and everything that they've gone through, you win 2 games in March. You win your mini tournament. You get out of your region and you get into the second weekend. It can do a lot to just validate, the previous 3+ months from before that. And it doesn't discredit, the teams on the losing side of that. It doesn't. But for Arkansas and Muss, I think there is a lot to what they must be feeling after gutting it out and winning a really close game against a number 1 seed that got put in the toughest region of all. And it's going home. Kansas, yet another example. There are plenty of examples of not, but yet another example here of Kansas getting booted in the first weekend. Jayhawks fans are all too familiar with this. Just, when you are a 1, 2, or 3 seed every single season, and the randomness of this tournament's going to strike, and Bill Self not being available, Kansas has a laundry list of first weekend exits to much lower seeded teams.
You mentioned the Devo Davis post-game interview with Allie. We see players, even coaches, cry all the time during this tournament, usually after losses, because it's over. The season's over. In some cases, your college career is over. We don't see people cry as often after wins. And that was what made that interesting. And, Allie,
non-championship wins, or like non-getting to the Final Four wins.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Like round of 32 wins, you don't usually see players crying after them. And it was interesting to hear Devo talk about it, because he was like, we just worked so hard to get here. It's been hard. It's been tough. I don't have the words right in front of me, but he more or less said, this has been, we've struggled, and we had some stuff to figure out, but we figured it out. And among the adversity that program had to deal with this year, Trayvon Brazil plays 9 games, done for the season. He was very important to them. And then Nick Smith Jr., even though he played on Saturday, he has still missed 19 of Arkansas's 35 games this season. He's missed most of their games. And when you go through, when you enroll 3 McDonald's All-Americans and Nick Smith Jr. is the most heralded of the group, you do a lot of planning around that guy being available. And then that guy's just not available. And if you remember, and I know you do, it was kind of like murky, what exactly is going on with him? Is he going to play this? Is he going to rejoin the team? There was always questions about it. And that's difficult to deal with. Ask any coach. You spend a whole offseason planning around having a guy available, and then he's not, and then you don't know if he is. And then when he is, then he might go away again, and just a lot of question marks. And it's among the reasons this is wild to think about. Arkansas started 1-5 in the SEC, finished 8-10 in the SEC, 2 games below 500. But that's the interesting thing, or one of the interesting things about this tournament, is that it offers you a fresh shot. Like, hey, for 4 months, this thing has been really rocky relative to what it was supposed to be. But we got to the tournament. Now let's go win games in the tournament. And Arkansas has won 2. And, as you know, they're now in the Sweet 16 for the 3rd straight year. And that might not sound like a lot, but that's tied for third in the country for active Sweet 16 streaks. Gonzaga has been there 7 straight times with an opportunity to make it 8 on Sunday. Houston has now been in the Sweet 16 4 straight times. And then Arkansas 3, UCLA 3. Those are your active streaks. This is not normal to just land in Sweet 16s back-to-back years, but Arkansas just did it.
Good stuff on the Hogs, and we see how their journey may continue. I say we move on, GP, because there is, 15 seeds just now making the second weekend like this is normal behavior. Some strange stuff, but some amazing stuff here with yet another team from Jersey that refuses to play by the rules.